What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, blues people? Welcome to another edition of Jack Dappa Blues Radio Podcast. And first, before we get into all the good stuff and my special guest of this particular episode, let me put you on to some other good stuff. So, my wife started a business called the Pearly Wellness Boutique, the Pearly Wellness Boutique. And these are some of the things that she sells. Keto coffee, super greens, and skinny brew coffee. Now, these, what you can call supplements, help assist in weight loss, focus, energy, and all of the above. So instead of spending $10 or $12 for a Starbucks coffee, you can either get sample packs, 3 for $20 from her, or 25 depending on what product you want, or you can become a loyal customer. Now, the information will be in the description box, so you can reach out to her. We also are selling African American folklorist mugs, Jack Dappa Blues mugs, and our current issue of the African American Folklorist newspaper is out and will be mailed out and on shelves and things of this nature within the next week. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to introduce my special guest of today, but I just want to give a brief description because she's a legacy, right? She is the daughter of the legendary bluesman Luther Georgia Boy Johnson. Now, he has a couple of monikers, and he is not to be confused with Guitar Jr. or any of them. A buddy of mine, Mr. Ron Wynn, in his column for All Music Journalists, writes, Johnson's own vocals, raspy lines, and taut guitar create his own aura. So we're going to talk about the legacy of Mr. Luther. Snake Boy, they called him. They called him Georgia Boy, and Snake Johnson with his daughter, Mrs. Barbara. Miss Barbara, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I guess before we jump right into your father's legacy, let's get a little bit of background on you, miss. Please share with us.
Well, first of all, I was born in Chicago, Cook County Hospital. Currently living in San Diego, California. Been here since 1986. What else would you like to know?
Well, so you spent a good amount of time. You grew up in Chicago during, as they say, the golden era of Chicago blues, because that's when it really, the 70s and 80s is could be considered the boom, right? How was it growing up in Chicago at that time, especially Chicago being one of the 4 or 5 African American epicenters for Black communities?
I mean, basically, when I was, smaller or younger, you're growing up where you were born and raised. So it wasn't any difference between Chicago, Boston, California. That's what I knew.
Any historic events that you maybe not have taken part in, but witnessed, like right now? Those of us that have children in the age range of 10 to 25,
hmm
20, 30 years from now would be able to give firsthand accounts of COVID, of civil unrest, and all these things.
Right.
Any moment like that in your upbringing that you can recall?
No, I mean, back in the day, you're outside, the street lights come on, that means you need to be in the house. There were no cell phones, there were no computers, laptops. You played with your friends. There wasn't everything that's what's going on today. I mean, it probably was there, but just hidden. And
Uh,
what we have, with a person in the White House gave them the opportunity to take their white sheets off their head.
Ooh. I hear that. Now, with that being said, I guess I have to ask you, what is it like, and what was it like as a young lady being the daughter of a premier blues legend?
Well, to me, he was just dad. He wasn't, you know, Luther, Snake Boy, Johnson, Luther, George, all the different names that he went by. To me, he was just my father. Even though I did not grow up with him because of the other parents' um, meanness, the only way I can say it kind of nice. But I knew of my father. I was reminded constantly, you look like him, you act like him, So to me, he was just dad.
Right, I understand it, and I must say, and I'm going to put that image back up. You do favor him a lot.
But thank you.
So let me ask you, without, because this is not a expose or tabloid show. This is a show that honors, respects the tradition, the people behind the tradition, and things
Right.
of this nature. So this is not one of those things. But I hear a lot in a lot of these interviews that a lot of times the children at some point or one point or another they're estranged or in some way they don't have the ability at some point to be around their
Hmm.
legendary father or mother for whatever the reason is.
Correct.
Is that something that is that in your perspective comes with the
Mhm.
territory of having a historic or iconic or legendary parent?
I mean, basically, my father tried to reach out to me, which I didn't find this out until years after his death. But when you have parents who try to keep their son or daughter from the other parent, whether they're famous or not, that's not cool.
No, I understand. I understand. Wow, that's tough. So I guess I have to ask, and I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible because
So it's okay.
um, having that sort of situation and then finding out
Hmm.
the truth behind the situation. How does it feel then when there are other people celebrating someone who to you is just your father? You know what I mean?
Right, right.
What is that like?
It brings me a lot of happiness that there are a lot of people who have been in touch with me, who have played with my father, who knew my father, what type of person, that he was. I understand he wanted me to be a nurse. I don't know where that came from, but okay. Um, just people that I've spoken to, even his two remaining siblings, Auntie Betty and Auntie Ruth. You think I look like my dad? You should see Auntie Ruth. We all look like twins. But it just makes me feel really, really good that a lot of people still to this day, respect my father, talk about him, and just how a cool and groovy person that he was.
So, are you the oldest child? Because usually the oldest or the very youngest looks exactly like the parent.
Well, supposedly I am the only child.
Oh,
Um, that's another subject.
right, right. Well, I don't even know where you. I'm never usually caught off guard, but I don't know if you want to speak about that, you're free to. But I'm not going to press that issue if that's something that you don't want to discuss.
I
But
mean, I met the person. Um, if you're my sister, that's fine. I didn't have any problems with that. However, when someone lies to me, tries to take advantage of the situation, try to, as an example, Killer Blues put a headstone for my dad, tried to take the credit for that.
Mm.
and just other things that I don't really want to get into. Is to me was disgusting.
Right.
Even overseas when I'm reading stuff in French, which I have to have translated, so I can read what's going on. That's not what happened.
Wow.
So in my opinion, I am my father's only child with the birth certificate.
Right.
I do not have to add his last name to my last name because it is my last name, which is Brinson.
Right. And I'm happy you brought that up because Luther Georgia Boy or Snake Boy Johnson was his stage name. Please share with us
Right.
his actual name because you do share the last name.
Yes, his actual name is Lucius Brinson, and that is Brinson. And I wish that my dad would have kept his birth name so it wouldn't be so confusing, because you also have Luther Guitar Johnson, who played with Muddy Waters.
Right.
And so there is a lot of discrepancy there as well, that I found that I see this gentleman is taking taking credit for my father's music.
Wow. Well, and that's something that's really discussed, at least in the big scheme of things, because we focus a lot, and there's a rightful cause, but we focus more on the appropriation of our music. We focus more on the record labels or the system that
Mhm,
abuses artists,
mhm.
particularly black artists, but we don't
Right.
speak about other black artists who
They're
rip
doing
off
the
other
same
black
thing.
artists.
Right. I mean, I've looked up, certain websites, which a lot of things about my dad online is incorrect.
Mm,
Wikipedia, I've contacted them. I'm the one who put the picture up on Wikipedia. I've changed the information. My dad was not born in 34, he was born in 41. He was 34 when he passed away.
that's very young.
Yes, from lung cancer, not brain cancer,
Mm,
which I keep changing and they keep changing back. And it's just, it's very hurtful. I mean, you think I would know.
right. Right, and this leads to something else that I'm an advocate for, and have been assisting in the purpose of this platform to assist in this. I don't want to say fight, but for lack of a better
Mhm.
term, to get the story correct and put it in the
Right.
proper context from the people. And I say that to say, do you believe that a lot of times the narrative that is perpetuated by those who revere or get paid off of our story, they don't want to accept the truth from the actual family members because it doesn't match their narrative, which is what they've been getting paid off for so long?
I mean, yes, I do agree with that. And the key word is there, money. Because my dad passed away in 1976. I was more aware of his family not until 2012. So you have from 76 until 2011. Let's just do whatever we want. There's nobody speaking up. No one knew of me.
Mm,
So let's just do whatever we feel like we need to do to make some money. And so when I came on the scene, and then the other person in the beginning, it's like, oh, wait, he has family. Yes, he does. So everything you've made up from this point is so wrong. Think about if it was your family, if it was BB King or Muddy Waters or Prince or whomever. That's not cool. It is
no.
not cool. It's very, very hurtful.
So let me ask you this. Um, I guess with the exception of age, and when I say age, because I would imagine you were very young in the 70s and young now. Please let me get that out there. But
Well,
would
I am 61, thank you.
okay, so uh what made you stand up in 2011 and say, "Hey, wait a minute. You know what? How come it took so long, or did you not know that these people or I don't want to say these people. There were people capitalizing
Mhm.
off of your father's
Right.
name. What was it that made you say then it's time to step up and say something?
I mean, like I said earlier, I did not know a lot because of the other parent, Satan, the other parent who, anyways. So once I was able to know more information, I started looking things up online. And the sad thing about that is the his album On the Road, because I knew of my dad, and I'm looking for Lucius Brinson, and
Right.
here comes this photo, and I'm like, is that him? No, that's not him. And now that I look back on when I first started to research on him, it's like, oh my God, everything is wrong. Whose name is this? My dad wrote this song. Who are you? Things in France that you can't, it's hard. It was really hard. And I even contacted a couple of attorneys whom was a waste of time. I sent birth certificate, which they required, so they know I am who I say I am. And then it was like, oh, well, I can't help you. Well, you couldn't have told me that at first. So
Mm.
there's a lot of scammers out there who don't really care. They out for the money. They don't care if I get to the truth or change everything.
No, I
It's
understand. I have to ask you this, and again, if you don't feel comfortable answering this, by all means, you refer to the other parent. Is that actually a mother?
some person who gave birth to me. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like that.
Understood. Understood. So this is actually a lot deeper and outside of music. So and different things. Um, wow.
I
Okay.
mean, it's deeper because of the separation with my dad. My dad is the most important thing to me. If I would have been able to grow up with him or maybe his family, his mom, Big Mama in Georgia, things would be so totally different.
Mm.
So totally different. So, I mean, I can go on and on about that, but it would have been totally different growing up with my dad and or his family instead of idiots on the other
No,
side.
I understand.
I mean, that's about as nice as I can say it.
Wow. That's tough. And wow, that's tough. Now, you mentioned France a couple of times.
Mm.
So you were living in France at a particular time of your
Oh
life?
no, I wish. No, my dad, he recorded a lot in France.
Ah.
And there's this one website that I joined, and you can translate so you can see what people are talking about. So no, I've never been to France.
Okay, but so to try to see if I understand, uh, he since he recorded a lot in France, there's a lot of information about him there that wouldn't necessarily be in the Americas document or records.
Yes. And then it's hard to, who am I going to call in France after so many years and go, can you help me?
Right.
If they're making millions of dollars and they want to continue to make millions of dollars or that, whatever the case may be, why would you want to help? I would think from the goodness of your heart to do the right thing.
Right.
But
Right.
obviously, others don't think as I do.
Right. So now we're in a situation where, because by law and birthright, you are the estate, correct? Or
Yes,
should be the representative of the estate.
yes.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, when you decided, okay, let me, take care of this, you became the executive, so to speak. And did you take those steps? through the court, or that's what you was explaining. They were not so helpful. The courts and
No, I did not go legally through the court, which that was something that, yes, I should do. But it got to one point, I was just so exhausted with, trying to do, okay, let me contact this person. Let me prove this to this person. Yes, I am who I say I am. Can you help me? Oh, sure, I can help you. Send me this document. Oh, well, I can't help you, da 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 da. Well, you should have told me that at first. Or I've had to um, I can't recall their name right now. I can help you get your dad's royalties. However, it would be like a 65th or 60, a 60, I can't count, 60/40, whereas they get this high interest
right.
or percentage, excuse me. So including my two aunts, they would get, because they're family as well.
That's right.
So if someone's getting 60 and then we get 10, 20, 30, no, that doesn't work like that.
No,
Then
it
it's,
doesn't.
yeah.
It doesn't. You have to. I may know someone I could put you in contact with.
Okay.
That they took those steps. Matter of fact, I can. They took those steps and they got the rights to their legacy. They're the legacy
Mm,
of Petey Wheatstraw.
okay. Thank you.
And I'll introduce you to them. So now we're in a situation where you seeking help. You're finding out all this, or better yet, you're not finding out. You're correcting an
Mhm.
alternative narrative of your father, as well as
Correct.
finding out personal things that I'm sure weren't easy, and you made that clear. And then you have uh, another person involved
Hmm.
that is claiming
Hmm.
to be a relative, as well as
Correct.
adding to the false narrative of your father's story. This has to be heavy, to say the least.
I mean, yes, it is, because also if I'm on, let's say, Facebook and someone will see, not read my name, but see um, daughter of Luther Johnson. And I'm like, oh, hey, we talked last week. No, we didn't. Who are you? Well,
Wow,
aren't you Dee Dee? No, I'm Barbie.
wow,
So I get it all the time. I'm like, I'm sorry you didn't talk to me, but yes, I am his real daughter. If you want to chit chat, we can do that. But no, that's not my name. My name is Barbie.
wow. So now with that, and you mentioned that, which is really mind blowing, that Luther Guitar Johnson was. So wait, was he actually taking the credit, or were other people giving him the credit of your father's work?
If you look up online, I don't have the different names right now, but I've looked up online, whereas you will see my dad's picture,
Hmm.
Luther Guitar Johnson's name has written this song.
Mm.
Okay, wait. If you're gonna lie, at least get the pictures right.
Right, right, right.
But again, it's been so long that they don't care.
Oh my goodness. So now you mentioned Killer Blues Project. Those are some good.
Yes,
Those are some very good gentlemen. Um,
awesome, Mr. Steve.
yes. How did you get connected with them?
He contacted me,
Okay,
and
okay.
he was like, your dad doesn't have a headstone, which I did not know. At that point, I didn't even know where he was buried.
Mm.
So he contacted me, gave me information, told me more about his the Killer Blues, and we would like to donate a headstone. Yes, please. What do I need to do? So I contacted Uncle Benny, who has passed away since, getting all the information. What do I need to do? And within, I think, a year and a half, headstone was there.
Wow. Nice. Yeah, they do. They do great work.
Oh,
What?
yes, they do. Very appreciative.
So now, looking up some of your father's work, And I think that's really what was one of my questions, because I noticed that one of the pieces of information stated he was born either 1934 or 1941, and I was like, wow, So I was doing the math,
Yeah,
and then I was like, that's a big
gap.
leap to confuse,
Hmm.
even though
Exactly.
they my grandparents, their records weren't, when my mother, uncle, and aunt found out my grandfather's actual age, and I believe he was
Hmm.
like 8 or 9 years older than he thought he wasn't too happy. But it in Mississippi, in Louisiana, in those places, that was prevalent. I
Yeah, and
think
Georgia too.
right in Georgia too.
Right?
But
Mhm.
I I would have thought by the time your father was born, to my
Mhm.
understanding, these documents would be not so elusive as it was at the turn of the century. So, have you gotten any pushback from giving the actual dates of his birth and lifespan?
I mean, most that I've contacted or tried to correct, it's like, okay, he was born in 1941, not 1934. His age was 34. And to make sure that I have this information correct, let me contact his two sisters, his brother, who, again, as I said, has passed away. I believe they would know when their brother was born. So it's like I'm telling someone the color is red. No, it's purple. No, I'm telling you he was born in 1941. Some people will update it, some people will not. Some people
Mm,
will send an email and say, oh, okay, thanks for that information. And I go and look, nothing's changed.
wow, wow. So now, as far as him performing, because that was one of the things that I was trying to calculate, honestly. Because again, not to beat a dead horse, but to see that gap, either 34 or 41, and then the follow up sentence is saying that he started his music career in the 50s. So I'm trying to calculate that. It's almost like,
I
well,
know,
he,
exactly.
he would
Exactly.
that would make him like between 10 and 15 as a professional artist traveling. So,
Exactly.
well, let me ask you in regards to his musical journey. Um, at what time do you know when his professional career started?
That I do not know. And again, that's a good point because I thought the same thing. Okay, yes, he's born in 41, but how old was he when he started? So, I would assume 18. I know he went into the army twice, and I tried to look, and I have a picture of him in the army, and I can get off the wall. My son will bring that to me. And you see his picture here behind me,
Yes.
and that's my picture.
Wow. Nice.
Try to bring me his uh, army picture. So I'm not sure. Even the picture when he was with Muddy Waters, he looks very young. No, the second one, that one. He looks very young.
That's
He's
right.
right here with the glasses on.
Wow. That's right. That's right. That's right. And it's ironic that so many people tend to utilize that picture. That picture is all over the
Oh,
internet.
mhm. Yes, even Facebook. And again, there was an individual who posted that picture and said, Luther Georgia Boy Johnson played bass.
Mm.
Mm. Excuse me.
Right, right.
No, they don't care.
Well, let me ask you: have you because a lot of the legacies of blues legends or any black musical legend, a good portion though create organizations or different things so they can keep control of the story and uh, 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 block those that try to exploit their father or mother's work
Mhm.
financially. Have you been working on that?
I've tried to work with, as I said earlier, a lot of things, but then I just get so overwhelmed and I just break out in tears. It's like I can't handle this today.
Mm,
As an example, I some days I can listen to his music. I can get through two or three songs. Other days, couple of notes, I have to turn it on.
mm. Right, because for at least for your particular story, there's a lot of emotional situations that are tied to it. So I can understand that. I can
Well,
understand.
that too, and it's just been, so long. I can only do so much, and then I get overwhelmed, with it, including, today's life. So, and then I get sad because, well, why didn't you keep doing this?
Right,
Keep do it. You have to fight for him. Do what you need to do.
right, right. Do you get calls by these by the Blues Foundation or Blues societies to represent your father or to uh, receive awards for him?
No, sir.
Oh my goodness, this is no bueno. This is no bueno.
Not groovy.
It's not groovy at all because
Mhm.
I in the space I live in, meaning what my contributions to the blues. I'm in
Right.
a lot of blues spaces, and I see your father's name and picture all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's just it's troublesome to me when there's certain there's certain blues legends that uh allegedly people can't find their estate or remaining relatives.
Mhm.
But it, you know when there's a remaining relative, daughter, sister, brother that is accessible, it's really troublesome to me.
It is, and it's not like I'm not on social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on, but you probably know all this. You see me.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you remember. My son took an interest in car racing. You
Yes,
gave us
yes,
the information on the
yeah.
season and things of that
I
nature.
remember. I
Yes,
remember.
yes. So
Yeah.
what would you like if I don't want to say if things was perfect, but if you were able to situate whether it's an organization or a situation or what would you want to establish?
Right.
Why would you want to establish it? And then w- after it's established, what then would you want from it? What do you want it to do or
I
receive?
mean, the most important thing to me is my dad's legacy. The most important thing is having the information correct. Not brain cancer or lung cancer. He doesn't play the bass, he plays the guitar. Just his legacy to be correct. So, because I'm not going to be here forever. So, I want it to be correct. If someone can help me, maybe I'm not doing things correctly. I mean, I don't have the legal mind or entertainment law, things of that sort. But if someone can assist me, help me get this in order, whereas, excuse me, getting choked up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hold on. I mean, just so that my dad's legacy is correct. Whereas my granddaughter, who's sitting here, knows who he was. She can look up the information, have the correct information. And just everybody, and not just for my dad, for all the other artists who are out there. It seems like if you're not a BB King or a Muddy Waters, someone who was really, and no disrespect to them, who was really, really out there, had someone to protect them, they don't have to go through it.
You know, I that's not necessarily true. The Morgan Fields did some fighting. Mercy and them, they put the smackdown down because their father's stuff was being exploited, and I think they went through. I don't know how similar to yours, but they had to they had to get this, they had to set things straight. You know, there's just a track record of
Mm,
exploitation when it comes to black expression.
yes.
Um, and it's unfortunate. I would say, to your point, those most notable. I understand what you mean in that sense, but they do it to all of them. I have not I have not come across a legacy and interviewed them that didn't share
Hmm.
a similar story that you're sharing in regards
Wow.
to the exploitation,
Right.
the alternative story for the purposes of who's telling the story, all these things. You know, you spark uh, an interest. I have to really we'll talk about this off air. I have to speak
Okay.
to my wife and my advisory board because yeah, I'll keep yeah. So
Thank you.
no, you're welcome because this seems to be an issue. I'm to the point. Myself, my family, my peers that whether they're musicians or historians or whatever the case is, we are so aware of this that we're trying to make sure while alive, our
Yes.
following generations don't deal with this because this is way too rampant in blues people culture, regardless of what the person did for a living. It's just is heinous.
And that's true. And as another example, how do you pronounce it? Spotify? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm
Yes,
like, let me see if my dad's music is here. It's all up. Okay, who's getting paid? Don't they get someone gets paid for?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who is it?
Now, see, and that's the issue that I'm having right now as I hear this because somebody gets paid, one,
Hmm.
and somebody,
Still,
if they don't
yeah,
own it, they bought it from somebody,
exactly.
and
Still selling albums on Amazon. Oh, this album came out in 2000. Well, that's strange when he passed away in 1976.
you have to get legal representation because they're buying things, and if I'm not mistaken, um, when the rights to something is available, they're to wait. They're either to reach out to or wait for a relative or a state representative or a legacy to either claim it or they're supposed to reach out to you,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And it's really it's just horrible because a lot of these international and national local labels that want to make a name or flip a buck or establish themselves
Mhm,
in
mhm.
traditional black arts, they do so through our ancestors' creations,
Exactly.
their intellectual property, with no regard to the family.
Exactly.
You know,
Because it's about the money.
well, it's not their money.
I know that. Yeah.
You know,
I'm not asking to be like, "Oh, I'm a multi-millionaire," but give my dad's family, myself, his two sisters, what is deserving of them. You've made money for all these years. You know, say Luther Guitar Johnson, whatever. You've written this song, but if you're gonna put wrong information, at least put your picture up there and not my dad's picture.
Right. So let me ask you: have you reached out to the Guitar Junior Luther or any of his representatives about this situation?
I have not.
Okay.
But one of the strange things was one of Muddy's sons. We were friends on Facebook, and apparently he thought he was talking to somebody else and let loose a little information. I'm like, "Do you know who I am?" He's like, "Yeah, you're." I'm like, "No, I'm not that Luther's daughter. I'm Luther George Boyd Johnson's daughter."
Wow.
He unfriended me just like that.
Wow. That's
Yep.
strange. Um. So it. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I really want to ask
Neither did
what was that
I.
about.
Neither did I. You
mm,
know, people that, yeah, just, he's like, oh, unfriend.
wow.
Okay, that's fine.
Wow. So are you insinuate? I don't want to say insinuating, but do you believe there's some sort of um ostracizing going on here?
You know, I don't really know what to say. I know what I've experienced, like that with that person. So, you know, I can't go and point fingers. I don't have anything on paper that says this is what happened. It's more so if we go to court, let's say, it's my word against his word. Well, I know what you said or wrote. And then when I said who I actually am, which Luther Johnson's daughter I am, you unfriended me. So where is that going to lead me to think?
Mm.
You're telling me this information and you thought you were talking to somebody else.
Oh man.
It's
Yeah.
it is horrid. Some of these people are horrid. But you know, I can't let myself get upset too much about it, even though I do. You know, sometimes I have tears, I cry about it. It's like, why?
Wow. I mean, I think what's sad is that you actually revere your father. This is not about, to my understanding, what I'm receiving, his fame or even his music catalog. It's just just about your pops. Everything else just
Exactly.
comes with it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear it. So what? As we wind up, as we wrap up, what message do you want to send to one, the people who continue to perpetuate the false narrative, and two, the people in a situation similar to yours that is just fighting for their father, their mother, their brother, whoever it is that they're fighting for in this capacity?
I would say number one, you know, basically my dad was a great artist, a great musician, a great blues player. You know, I didn't know him as the famous blues player. I knew him as my dad, who I look like. It's not cool what you're doing, what you've done over the years. My dad does have family. He has a daughter, myself. He has two living sisters. For the people who have done this for over the years, it's wrong and God does not like ugly. I hope you've enjoyed the money and it's just not cool. And all I can say is God bless you. What else can I say? God does not like ugly.
Yeah. Now, what about
Secondly,
those in your those in your position? What would you like to share with them? Whether it's encouraging or how you say I'm going through it too type situation.
I mean, I would say both. I would like to encourage everyone if you're in the same position that I am in. It's just me. I don't have anyone else to help me. Maybe others have, you know, a bigger family, brothers, sisters, cousins, what have you. I don't have that. It's just me. So not only trying to protect my dad's legacy, I also have to run a house, go to work, do this, do that. So I can only do so much in a 24-hour period, which I have insomnia all the time, so I'm never asleep. But, you know, be encouraged. Get your family members involved, friends to help you. Maybe someone knows a lawyer. Maybe someone knows. You never know who knows who. Whereas they can help you get what's your legal due. And for me, I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep trying. Maybe not as fast as I need to be, but I'm going to keep at it because my dad deserves everything, in my opinion. And I want his legacy when I am no longer here. I want his legacy to be correct.
I hear that, and I really appreciate you taking the time talking to me about your journey, this history, your father's legacy, and the
Oh,
ups
thank
and
you.
downs. You know, I'm going
Yeah, I could
to.
have said a whole lot more. We'll talk about that offline.
I hear that. I hear that. Well, yeah, and I'm definitely going to I'm going to contact brother Rico Dottie and his father-in-law who was able to um they were able to get their legacy to get the licensing of Petey Wheatstraw, their great uncle, I believe, and
Yeah,
things of this nature. So I'm going to put you in contact with them to see if they could, in some way, if not help, lead you in the right direction and how they was able to go about doing it.
I appreciate it. But before we go, I want you to see his great granddaughter. You think I look like him? Take a look at this. One moment. Come, I want to show you. What? Come over here. She's a little slow. Here she comes. What is it slow?
Wow,
Wait, okay.
wow.
Yes. Okay. Goodbye.
No, that's it. I mean, when you heard it that statement. You can never lie and say that's not yours.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's in the genes. It's in the blood. It's the bloodline, and that's what this is about. When we represent, raise awareness, and celebrate heritage, it goes beyond the
Right.
expression. It is the people of the expression. And that's why genealogy is so prevalent and important in every Bible, whether it's the Torah, the Quran, or the Christian
Yeah.
King James Bible. Genealogy is
Yes.
key. And that's what this is about. I thank you, Mrs. Barbara.
I
We're
thank
definitely going
you.
to speak off and keep in contact. And I'm going to reach out to these folk to to
Okay.
to and link you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As for you all, you know what's going on. This is Jack Dappa Blues Radio Podcast. We are Jack Dappa Blues Heritage Preservation Foundation, where we raise awareness of African American traditional music, and the black experience, as well as celebrate the legacy, the genealogy of our folk, and make sure the story is told correctly. Make sure you subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification. Again, get you some keto coffee. Go buy. It's that's one of the greatest things. I'm a coffee drinker, and to have a healthy alternative to drinking coffee is a great thing. Make sure you get some sweatshirts. Subscribe to our email, our email mail out, and also I just want to show you all this one more time. Make sure you sign up for the newspaper. That's Ben and Valerie Turner on the cover. Piedmont Blues Acoustic Duo. We'll get back at you.